Hey guys, so now that we have the smoker lit, we want to do a quick hive inspection. One of the things you want to do is really just make sure that you're kind of paying attention to what's happening, right? Are you seeing a signal that the bees really are aggregating a lot outside? And that could lead to different kind of scenarios, but in general today is a very beautiful day. So the bees are super active, they're flying in and out, which is what you want to see, right? Because we're in the midst of, or the beginning of the nectar flow right now. And additionally, it's been really crappy, it's been a lot of rain. And so earlier on, there was a whole host of bees that were kind of flying out. And it could be just kind of like a cleanup flight, or sometimes the newer bees, as they emerge, they take their little first kind of test flights. And so, that it's important to kind of pay attention to what's happening there. Right, and then a quick kind of look at what we have here from a setup perspective. Right, so here we have the brood boxes. So these are the boxes where the queen lays her eggs, like they store their food. We don't really want, right, we want to kind of make sure things are okay within this area, but it's not an area where we would look to really do a lot of interruptions. We might want to look for swarms or just make sure that the queen is laying. Right, we're getting a lot of visitors right now. And so let's get cracking and see what we got going on. So it always begin with giving some smoke, right? The smoke is just a function of making sure that any kind of attack pheromones that the bees are sending each other are disrupted, and this way, right, they're not attacking you, right, which is not a good experience. One of the things that we're gonna do is I put a couple of honey boxes up here. This one is about 3 weeks already in place. This one I just put last week. So we just want to kind of see the progress. Again, not thinking I'm going to see a lot, being that it's been kind of really rainy and cold. And so the bees may not have gone out foraging too much. So first things first, I kind of pre-cracked some things here just to make sure I'm not agitating the bees, right? You always want to make sure you have gentle motion and just give it a nice amount of, you don't want to smoke them out too much, but you want to give it just enough to make sure as you're going through that they're not going to be agitated too much. So as expected, we don't really have a lot of spread of bees here. What's happening is they concentrate typically in the middle, and then as they build up, and then they expand further out. So as expected, we have a couple of frames that are seeing a good amount of bees on there. They're starting to build foundation, right? So kind of taking a quick look here, you can see that we have, right, they're kind of going and working their way, and there's just like a little bit of wax buildup here. So, right, and I think this is kind of as expected right now. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and maybe take a look at our next level, which is where we see a little bit more action. Right, so as expected, little failure happening. So as expected, right, we have a lot more bees kind of spread out around this super. Let's get this out of the way. Oh, sorry, girl. And so let's do kind of like a quick inspection and really give you a sense of the difference between what's happening in the frame we just took a look at and this frame here. So right, they've had a couple of weeks to work on this, about 3 weeks in total. So we've got to get through the propolis, which is always nice and sticky. And here we can see a much better situation. Right, so the bees have built out foundation, right, or wax, and they're filling it up with honey or nectar right now. So it won't be honey until it's actually capped, and they evaporate a lot of the water, right? So you can actually see some bees that are kind of shaking. I'm not sure whether that's kind of no, I'm not seeing any bees that are kind of signaling where to go and collect nectar, which is fine. But so we're seeing some good activity here. And let's kind of go maybe to a little bit of an older frame that I put that was actually built out before, and seeing, what's the status there. See, so now we have a much different situation. Here we have actually capped cells. So they actually got the honey or the nectar down to about 17% water content, in which case they cap it. And once the capping is distributed, and I would say about 70% of all the frames have been capped, that's when we would be able to take the honey super off and actually start extracting. So I hope you found this beneficial, and have a great day.